Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we translate all that corporate jargon into plain English. Today we are diving into a company that deals with optics, Syntec Optics Holdings Incorporated. Let's see what they've been up to in their latest filing. Get ready, because we're about to unpack a shareholder meeting that might have some interesting takeaways for those watching the company's journey. Before we jump in, if you enjoy these deep dives into corporate filings, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We also have a community over on Discord, linked in the description below, where we dissect these reports and more. So this is a Form 8K, which is basically a report for big events that happen that shareholders need to know about right away. Think of it as a company's diary for important occurrences. For Syntec Optics Holdings Incorporated, the big event here was their annual meeting of stockholders, which happened on the 20th of January, 2026. This section is all about what happened at that shareholder meeting, what they discussed, and most importantly, how everyone voted. Companies have to report these things to make sure everything is above board and that shareholders have a say in how the company is run. First off, let's look at the total number of shares that could be voted. We're talking about a significant chunk of ownership here, over 36.9 million shares. This gives us a scale of the company's ownership structure. Now, let's get to the juicy part, the voting. What did the shareholders actually approve or reject? The first item up for a vote was the election of 2 directors to the board. These are essentially the people who guide the company's strategy and oversee its management. The nominees were Wally Bishop and Albert A. Manzone. For Wally Bishop, a whopping 31,398,541 votes were cast in favour of him staying on the board, with only 213,518 withholding their support. That is a strong endorsement. Albert A. Manzone also received massive support, with over 31.5 million votes for him and barely 97,000 withholding. Clearly, the shareholders are happy with the current leadership team and want them to continue steering the ship. So, both directors were indeed elected to their positions, scheduled to serve until the 2028 annual meeting. This indicates a smooth transition and continued confidence in these individuals. Next up, they voted on ratifying the appointment of CBs Incorporated as their independent auditors for the fiscal year ending the 31st of December 2025. These are the folks who check the company's financial statements to make sure they are accurate and fair. It is a standard procedure, but important for transparency. The vote here was overwhelmingly in favour of CBs Incorporated. Over 32.5 million votes were cast for them, with only about 180,000 against, and a small number abstaining. This shows a strong consensus on keeping their current auditors. This means CBs Incorporated will continue to provide their auditing services for the company. Moving on, shareholders voted on approving the grant of restricted stock units, or RSUs, under their 2023 Equity Incentive Plan. RSUs are a form of employee compensation, essentially giving employees a stake in the company's future success. It is a common way to incentivize and retain talent. Again, the shareholders showed strong support, with over 31.4 million votes for approving these stock units. A little over 113,000 voted against, and a very small number abstained. This approval allows the company to continue using stock-based compensation as part of its strategy for rewarding employees. Here is a significant one. The shareholders voted on amending the company's second amended and restated certificate of incorporation. This document is essentially the company's constitution, outlining its fundamental rules and goals. Amendments here can mean changes to how the company is structured or operates at a very basic level. In this case, the amendment was also approved by a large margin. Over 31.1 million votes were in favour, with about 452,000 voting against and a few thousand abstaining. While the majority is clear, the number of dissenting votes here is a bit higher than in the previous items, which might be something to keep an eye on, depending on the nature of the amendment. So, the company's foundational document will be updated based on this shareholder approval. Finally, there was a vote on allowing for any other business that might properly come before the meeting. This is a catch-all provision to ensure the meeting can address unexpected but legitimate matters. This also passed with strong majority support, over 31.4 million votes in favour. This confirms that the meeting structure was approved as planned. This part of the filing is usually about supporting documents. In this case, it mainly lists the exhibits included with the report. The main exhibit noted here is the cover page interactive data file, which is part of the inline XBRL document. This is essentially a structured data file that makes the filing easier for computers and regulators to process. It is more of a technical detail for regulatory compliance than something that tells a story about the business itself. And finally, we have the signatures. This section confirms that the report has been reviewed and authorized by the company's management. Al Kapoor, the chairman and chief executive officer, has signed off on this report, attesting to its accuracy and completeness on behalf of Syntec Optics Holdings Incorporated. This signature carries weight, showing leadership's accountability. Looking at this filing, the primary story is one of stability and shareholder confidence. The overwhelming approvals for director elections, auditor ratification, RSU grants, and amendments suggest that the current leadership and their proposed actions have strong backing from the company's owners. There were no major surprises or significant shareholder dissent highlighted in these voting results, which generally points to a company operating smoothly and in accordance with shareholder expectations. However, while this meeting report shows a unified front, it doesn't provide deep insights into the company's financial health or strategic direction beyond these specific votes. Without the financial statements themselves, which would typically be part of a more comprehensive filing like a 10Q or 10K, it is hard to assess the underlying performance of Syntec Optics. What we can say is that the shareholders have put their trust in the current board and management, at least for the upcoming period. The approval of RSU grants suggests a focus on employee incentives, which can be a positive sign for future growth and talent retention. The amendment to the Certificate of Incorporation, while approved, leaves a question mark about what specific changes were made and their potential long-term impact, as the details aren't provided in this particular filing. In conclusion, for Syntec Optics Holdings Incorporated, this filing indicates a harmonious relationship between management and shareholders at this annual meeting. The company appears to be on a stable path, with leadership enjoying strong support. The key opportunity here for the company is to leverage this shareholder confidence to execute its strategies effectively, particularly in the optics sector. A notable risk, however, is the lack of transparency around the Certificate of Incorporation amendment, which could have unforeseen consequences if not communicated effectively. Alright, that is our quick breakdown of Syntec Optics Holdings Incorporated's latest shareholder meeting report. What is your take on these results and what they tell us about the company's direction? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this analysis valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe for more corporate insights. And don't forget to join our Discord community linked in the description for more in-depth discussions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.